Now, I forgot to add during my recap that ThinkorSwim had a major outage today, and I'm going to share some tips with you to help you if this happens again. So, this morning, when I was in the chat room and I was trading, I started noticing people saying, "Hey, I can't get logged into ThinkorSwim. Is anyone else having trouble?" And people started chiming in, "Yup, I blocked out. I can't get in. It won't give me access. My password's like not working." And all of a sudden, the flurry of comments about this were just blowing up. Everyone's saying, "I can't get into ThinkorSwim. I'm so frustrated." So I knew pretty quickly that it wasn't just one or two people. It was a real issue. Down Detector reported these outages at TD Ameritrade, ThinkorSwim. That's Charles Schwab now. But anyways, a big spike here right around 10 a.m. that seems to be getting better, but it's not eliminated. It's not gone. So you can always check the down detector, which is helpful because it gives you perspective of, is this a me issue or is this a platform issue? So this is what I did. I went to try to log in on my system as well. So, it always asks me this. Now, my ThinkorSwim badge has turned to blue here. And that happened at some point, I want to say last week. So I was like, okay, now my instance seems to be recognizing that I'm on Charles Schwab. But every time I go to get into it, it's slow to load. But in any case, one of the things that you can do is you can click on that little widget in the bottom corner and just make sure you're logging into your Schwab account, not TD Ameritrade, not the guest pass. Make sure you're going to the Schwab account. So you just save that. And then that's what I did. I had to re-enter my login ID and re-enter my password because it didn't remember either of them. It doesn't remember your password, but it didn't remember my login username, which is kind of annoying. I don't know why it forgot it. But anyways, I was able to get logged in, and it looks like it's going through here. It's a little slow, but it is going through. So that's good. Anyways, I don't really use ThinkorSwim for active trading. I have a couple accounts here, but I'm not day trading in them for the most part. So in any case, this is just one of these things that does happen from time to time. So a couple other things you can do. It's always good to make sure you can go in through the website if you have an open position, because a lot of times you can still go in through the website to close a position if you have to. It's not ideal, but if the platform went down in the middle of a trade, you could go in and close it like that. So that's something to be aware of. Checking the down detector is good. You could check over on Reddit and see sometimes people are commenting there. You could check on Twitter. And there were a bunch of people that were, reiterating that this was an issue. This person said, number of issues with ThinkorSwim under TD, 0. Issues with Charles Schwab, 3. Well, it's not actually true that it was 0 issues with TD because there were a lot of issues during the pandemic. But it's been better in the last, they fixed it. It's been better in the last few years. But Schwab is dealing with some of those transition pains. So I don't know. Sometimes people say, is there another broker I should be using? And the thing is, ThinkorSwim has been really popular in terms of free commission brokers. You get nice price improvement with them. They do a ton of volume. It's very liquid when you're trading with them for the most part. The ThinkorSwim platform is a little heavy on my system. It runs and uses a lot of resources, but you can set up APIs with some third-party software that'll help it run faster, and then you're bypassing ThinkorSwim as a platform. You're still executing against it, but you're not logging in through it, so it can trade faster. But I'm not sure, those traders may have had the same issues this morning as well. It depends on whether or not there was an issue with the API. And one of the challenges with trading with these API integrations is that you always want to make sure you have the website or ThinkorSwim up in case that API breaks, because then you can't access your account. So I had a trade just a couple of weeks ago on GameStop where I bought, now I can't remember, it was like 3,000 or 4,000 shares, and all of a sudden I was offline. My broker basically got disconnected from the route that had sent my order. And so I couldn't cancel the order because my broker didn't know whether or not that order had even gotten filled. And it had not gotten filled, and it was a sell order. So I was stuck holding a position, and they wouldn't let me put out a second sell order because they said, well, you would end up shorting the stock, and you're not allowed to short in retirement accounts. So I just had to sit and wait for like 15 minutes while GameStop is going up $10 a share And until I was able to get back in, it was nerve-wracking. I was not a happy camper. So I understand how frustrating it is to have platform issues. We saw a ton of it during the pandemic. My platform, for the most part, which is Lightspeed Trading, has been solid, but I did have that issue just a couple weeks ago. And, I asked them, I was like, why did that happen? And they're like, we don't know. These things can just happen at any time. And it's like, that's not a great feeling, but that's the reality of these platforms. They can go down at any time. And if they do, and you're stuck, they don't compensate you. They're just like, well, that's the risk. You signed the waiver, you knew that trading online carries risk. So that's one of the reasons I try to think about my position sizes a little bit and not leaving a lot of money in my account, because during GameStop 2021 era, I had millions of dollars in my account and I was taking huge positions. And if I had gone offline, at any time I could have been down six figures easily. And I was fortunate that didn't happen. But because I was making so much money, I could have tolerated the risk. Now, because the market's been a little cooler and a little bit calmer, I haven't been able to feel like it's worth it to keep a lot of money in my account, or I could justify taking massive positions, because if, there's that kind of black swan event, then all of a sudden I could really get smoked. I could take a huge loss, and that would be so discouraging. So, one of the ways I mitigate the risk of platform outages is by keeping a little less money in my account. And my goal has always been with trading to make as much money as I can day trading, and then take that money and invest it into long-term investment asset classes that are lower risk and either pay dividends or I get rental income from, but are cash flow positive. So they're producing cash flow. And my thought was that, look, if I start day trading in my 20s or, whatever, I could do this for 10, 15 years. If I could put away 10,000 a year, 20,000 a year on a good year, maybe 100,000. Next thing you know, 10 years down the road, I've got a lot of money put away, and I could potentially position myself to make more money on those long-term dividends than I could even make day trading. And you don't have to worry about, really platform stability when it's a long-term hold, right? So for me, day trading has always been about producing income. I'm not a YOLO trader, so like it's so hard for me to really get my head around the way Roaring Kitty has been investing his account, because it's like throwing it all on the line. And yeah, I mean, platform issues, like if he actually got kicked off of E-Trade, which I don't think he will, but if he did, all of a sudden he's got downtime of needing to move his position and transfer it to a new platform, and he could be stuck, or he could be locked out, or this and that. And you're talking about millions and millions of dollars at risk. So it's like the pressure gets so high. But I know even for us with, smaller accounts, just focusing on trying to make our little daily goals, having a platform go offline is stressful. So I'm really hopeful that ThinkorSwim is able to smooth this out. I'm sure they will, but I hope they can do it sooner rather than later, because people are getting really frustrated and people are starting to look at alternatives. And, there's also the reality of, if you keep missing days, it's funny that Fidelity is advertising here, but if you keep missing days, at a certain point, it's like, this person said, I do scalping options all day long, averaging 1,300 a day. So he's losing $1,300 on a day that this is offline, right? I mean, that's the conclusion that I'm seeing. That's incredibly frustrating. And no, it's just, you're just kind of out of luck. So at a certain point, it's not a bad idea to have a backup platform and a backup account just in case. But, when you're a commission-free trader, your options are, you've got a lot of options, I suppose, in some ways, but ThinkorSwim is really a solid platform when it comes to, the analytics for trading calls and puts, option contracts, things like that, spreads. A lot of people really like them for day trading. You get nice fills a lot of times. So I don't know. I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens, but hopefully things improve and we don't see this happen again. And, just make sure you're sort of paying attention, because if you're seeing these outages, or you're seeing people reporting issues, that's a time to be really careful actively using the platform, because you don't know if it's not stable at that moment, and you get disconnected and you can't reconnect. Sometimes that's like the signal of like, all right, you know what? I can't trust my platform today. I unfortunately take the day off. It's a shame when that happens, but it's better than taking a trade and then getting smoked because your platform, went offline in the middle of your trade. or locked up or something, because that's infuriating. And the issue always is when you then need to call support and there's 500,000 other people calling at the same time, you can never get through. Everyone's just waiting there in the same boat and you're stuck. So, as always, you can keep your website up. You can keep the ThinkorSwim platform up. If you have a third-party API, you might have a couple different ways that you can execute trades on the platform. But, this is part of the risk, unfortunately, with trading. And it's a particular risk right now with the Charles Schwab transition, that they're having some transition kind of growing pains. And hopefully they'll work it out quickly. When this happened during the pandemic, it was an ongoing issue. It took time. So I hope it's not like that, but I guess we'll just wait and see. So anyways, I just wanted to add that for those of you guys that had that issue today, and stay tuned for an upload later today on GameStop. Okay. Thanks as always for tuning in. Reminder as always, trading's risky. My results aren't typical. So manage your risk, take it slow, and I'll see you guys back here for my next upload a little later today.